Namaskaram, and welcome to the town of Concord's second annual India Day celebration. We welcome you to come have a seat somewhere comfortable. Continue to greet your friends and neighbors as you come in. Today is really a day to gather in cultural pride, in the spirit of learning and in the joy of sharing who we are with one another. We honor our elders who were the pioneers who carried their families, their traditions, and their faith across oceans and continents to make Concord their home. Planting seeds for a future rooted in resilience, heritage, and care. My own parents left India in 1968, first moving to Ethiopia and then making the United States their home. Their sacrifices, like so many families, created the foundation that allows us to stand together here today. India Day is both a celebration and a commitment. We honor heritage that strengthens us, culture that nurtures us, and a community that sustains us. We affirm our values of diversity, equity, and inclusion, and we carry forward the practice of collective care, where every voice is welcomed, every story matters, and every generation belongs. We continue to commit and recommit to gatherings like this so that our children may carry forward the care and community that those who came before us built with such devotion. Through these celebrations, our kids can get a sense of cultural pride in our heritage and grow with deep connections to our roots. One of the most powerful ways we live our culture is through music. The beats of India, carried through instruments like the tabla, connect us to our roots and remind us of the rhythm that sustains our traditions and community. It is with great joy I have the opportunity to introduce two wonderful artists from the New England School of Music, founded by my dear friend, the esteemed Aditya Kalyanpur, led by Amit Kavtekar, whose students embody this legacy through their dedication and passion. Mihir and Ishan, please come forward. Mihir, who is 14, has been a devoted student of New England School of Music for the past 8 years. Under the guidance of Amit sir and Vedant sir, he has developed his skills in tabla and shared his artistry in many performances, keeping cultural heritage alive through music. Ishan is 12 and has studied at NISAM for 7 years, guided by Amit sir and Vedant sir and his aunt. He has cultivated a deep passion for tabla and Indian classical music, while also exploring harmonium, piano, and saxophone. His dedication shines in the way he brings bhajans and rhythms to life with spirit and care. Together, Mihir and Ishan will now share with us the vibrant beats of India through their tabla performance. Please join me in welcoming Ishan and Mihir. Thank you, Ishan and Mihir. Next, I'd like to extend our heartfelt gratitude to First Parish, and especially Reverend Amy Friedman, who always opens this beautiful parish home and hearts to our community. Thank you, Reverend Friedman, and I'd love to share a few words.
It is a joy to be here with you. You bless this space by your presence. I wasn't able to be here last year at this time when you gathered here in our space, and I'm so delighted to be celebrating India Day with all of you today. As you may know, First Parish in Concord is a historic congregation. We date back to the founding of our town, and we value inclusion and diversity, and we have not always been able to fully live out that promise and live out those shared values. And so today we make real our commitment to interdependence. And so I just offer a brief prayer about that. We are part of a web of life that makes us one with all humanity, one with all the universe. We give thanks for the miracle of consciousness that we share, the consciousness that gives us the power to remember, to love, to care. Blessed be.
Thank you, Reverend Friedman. We also just want to thank everyone who has put so much heart and effort into today's planning. Our town liaison, Magnolia, is here with her family, so thank you, Magnolia. Members of the Town DEI Commission, I see Joe, if others are here. Thank you to our team at the Town DEI Commission. The rest of the First Parish community, Peter, who's here to support us here today, as well as Nigel, who was here yesterday supporting us, making sure we had sound and everything wonderful set up. We have Minuteman Media here, Arcadia is here. We have the team from the Concord Bridge, Ken, and also a reporter. And I really want to thank especially our elders who grace us with their presence and their blessings. Radhanti, as always, has offered her everyone's favorite chai here in the town of Concord. Radhanti was one of the first members of the Indian community to reside here and has been here for several decades. And so we're graced to be blessed to be able to have her presence as well as be able to enjoy her chai, and you'll find some cookies in the back. We also have been blessed by Lakshmi Auntie, who prepared this beautiful kolam. So when you get a chance, please come and see this beautiful kolam that she has designed and prepared for us. And we're so blessed to have so many of our other elders in community here with us, both from India as well as right here in Concord, including my own Amma who lives here and our parents who live right here in Concord as well. So with that, we're also delighted to grow our partners in community and coalition through our school system. And most recently this past year, Concord Carlisle High School has a newly founded South Asian Student Society, which I actually think is a really cool name, call SAS, or SAS. And so we're delighted to partner with Maya Soto, who is a co-founder and co-leader of SAS, as well as a rising senior at Concord Carlisle High School, as well as her brother, Sean Soto, who is a rising freshman. And I will be handing it over to the both of them as they will be emceeing our event from here. Join me in welcoming Maya and Sean.
Thank you, Shruti Auntie. This is SAS, the South Asian Student Society of Concord Carlisle High School, second year partnering with Concord India Day celebrations. My co-founder, Celeste Pinto, and I had the idea to start SAS as a South Asian affinity group 2 years ago when we identified a cultural need in our school community. we created SAS as a space for South Asian students to connect, learn more about our respective heritages, and increase representation for ourselves and other South Asians in the Concord Carlisle community.
We are honored to participate in Concord India Day to honor both our heritage and the unity that comes when we choose to celebrate what makes us unique. Now, it is our pleasure to share the significance of India Day with you all and its meaning in our community.
India Day commemorates the nation's independence from British rule and is a time for national pride and remembrance of the sacrifices that forged the path for the nation's sovereignty and the largest democracy in the world. India gained independence 78 years ago in 1947, and its path to independence has served as a model of the power of nonviolence movements for future generations. Independence Day is still widely celebrated by Indians across the world. Its parades and ceremonies remind us of the rich cultural diversity within India and the strength that comes when diverse groups choose to unite.
We would now like to invite the Town of Concord School Committee member, Sandeep Basharodi, to share a few words with us all. School Committee Representative Basharodi is the first Indian American Town of Concord School Committee representative, and we are honored to hear from him today.
All right, so did you all know that India is home to more than 2,000 different ethnic groups? Sweater? Down, okay.
It's his height.
Is this better? Yeah. All right. So, when you say that you know an Indian, you could be talking about people whose traditions, whose languages, whose histories are all worlds apart, but they are all tied together by one identity. Here in Concord, thousands of miles away, we see echoes of that same richness when we come together as a community. Let me start by welcoming all of you, our neighbors, friends, families, to the celebration of culture, of connection, and of belonging. As Indian Americans in Concord, we have long been part of the town's fabric. We are small business owners. We serve on town boards, on commissions. We contribute to and serve on local nonprofits, hospitals, the bridge. We beautify the town of Concord with the green thumbs. Some of us coach kids in soccer and football. Some of us volunteer with the BTGs. Some of us teach in schools. Our presence here has been built on service, on volunteering, and a commitment to this community that we all love. And like in India, Indians in Concord are not a monolith. Among us are people who trace their heritage to all corners of India, from Kerala to Kashmir, to Gujarat to Bengal, from bustling cities like Mumbai to the sleepy hills of the Himalayas. With my wife there. We speak dozens of languages. We bring with us a dazzling variety of traditions, of foods, of festivals. Some of us are newcomers. Some of us have been here for all their life. And while some stereotypes might suggest that all Indians are doctors and engineers, the truth is we are artists, we are athletes, we are entrepreneurs, we are writers, and yes, some of us are lowly computer scientist, or as my son calls it, a fake scientist. Over time, what I've come to realize is that the beauty of this community, whether in India or right here in Concord, does not come from blending everything into one flavor. It comes from keeping all of the spices in that mix. That's where the richness comes from. That's where the depth comes from, and that's what gives meaning to who we are. So while today is about celebrating Indian culture, it's also about celebrating a Concord, a town that embraces diversity, a town that understands that community is not built on sameness, but the bonds that we choose across our differences. And like India has been home to Christians long before Europe, has welcomed Jews that were seeking a homeland, has offered refuge to Zoroastrians that were fleeing persecution, it has shown that diversity and inclusion are strengths. Concord also holds these same countless backgrounds and stories in our town. That is our strength, that is our richness, and that's what makes gatherings like these so meaningful. Thank you for giving me the chance to share this moment with you. And I have one more statement to read. All right, the chairs of the school committee were not able to join today's celebration in person, but they asked me to share this on their behalf. The Concord School Committee values the rich diversity of our community and is committed to creating schools where every student feels respected, included, and empowered. Honoring these different cultures strengthens our schools and our town. We look forward to continuing partnerships with our community members to help all of our students thrive. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
At this time, please rise for the American National Anthem, the Star-Spangled Banner, followed by the Indian National Anthem, Jana Gana Mana. We would also like to invite our grandparents and all of the grandchildren up to stage.
So if our grandparents and the grandkids could come and join us on stage as we sing, you're most welcome to join. That's including the big grandchildren too. Thanks. And while we all gather, I also just want to thank and recognize Brian Farber, who's also here from the DEI Commission, as well as the contributions of Natalia. There's been a lot of interfaith communities that have come together to make today possible. So as we continue to welcome, be careful of the column, so you can walk around the column. Please, I know it's hard to notice, but if you could just take a look down and be careful, that would be great.
everybody. Please be seated. Now let's turn to the arts, one of the most powerful ways to honor heritage. We are delighted to present Leia Maria Pavlov, a disciple of Sunanda Narayanan of Pillai Fine Arts Academy, who will be performing a Bharatanatyam piece entitled Maitrim Bhajata, composed by Dr. V. Raghavan and performed at the United Nations Assembly in 1966. This piece celebrates peace, universal humanity, and collective care. Leia Pavlov is a rising senior at CCHS and has served as the United States Youth Citizen Diplomat in Malaysia this past year, returning to Concord just yesterday. Thank you, Leia. Thank you, Leia.
It's now my honor to invite Concord Select Board Member Wendy Ravelli to read the official Town of Concord India Day Proclamation and share some remarks.
Thank you. Happy Independence Day, and thank you all for including me in your celebration today. It's really quite a remarkable event. India Day marks a very important milestone in Indian history, and it's important to reflect upon those who fought for your freedoms and all our freedoms, and to reflect on what that provides us all today, including the remarkable traditions and arts, and the history that you all are celebrating today. So it's a wonderful opportunity. So, proclamation on behalf of the Select Board of Concord. India Day, officially Friday, August 15th, 2025. Whereas India, the world's largest democracy, gained independence on March 15th, 1947, after a historic nonviolent movement led by leaders like Mahatma Gandhi, inspiring global civil rights efforts, including those in the United States. And whereas this year marks 78 years of Indian independence, celebrating the nation's enduring commitment to democracy, justice, and unity in diversity. And whereas India has made remarkable progress in education, technology, healthcare, and civil life while honoring its pluralist roots and global contributions, including the concept of zero, yoga, and rich traditions in art, science, and culture. And whereas Indian Americans, including over 4.9 million in the United States, continue to enrich the social, economic, and civic fabric of this country, and in particular, the Indian American community in Concord plays a vital role in strengthening our town through leadership, public service, business, education, the arts, and community building. And whereas India's Independence Day is a time to honor the shared values of freedom and democracy between India and the United States, and to recognize the meaningful contributions of Indian Americans in Concord and beyond, we now, therefore, we, the Select Board of the Town of Concord, do hereby proclaim August 15th, 2025 as India Day in the Town of Concord, and encourage all residents to join in the celebration of India and the vibrant Indian American community that enriches our town. Thank you. Present this to Rose. To the community, but I'll be presenting. Okay. Yes.
And then actually, we can have DEI commission members and our actually Robbie, you're also here. Like, yeah, so be great. Yeah.
All right.
Thank you.
No, thank you. Great celebration.
Thank you, Wendy, for this meaningful recognition.
Returning to the arts, we now have a Bharatanatyam fusion piece performed by Neha Joshil. Neha is a Bharatanatyam student of Manasa Jayanti at Nrityanjali School of Dance. She is a recent graduate of Westford Academy and a rising freshman at Boston University, where she will study computer engineering. She will perform a Carnatic remix of Ed Sheeran's Shape of You. you.
India Day is made even more special by the presence of our community leaders and elected officials. We are honored to welcome our special guests who will share a few words with us. First, State Representative Simon Cataldo of the 14th Middlesex District.
Good morning, everyone. Can you hear me in the back? Great. So honored to be with you. Thank you so much for the invitation. Thank you to Rose for inviting me. Thanks to all of you who are here, who helped organize this, who are making sure that other people can see Minuteman Media, what's happening here today. I had prepared something else to say, and then Amy just tempted me by mentioning the importance of where we are. And it just strikes me that having this event at First Parish Church deserves mention, because the concepts, the ideas that were generated in this building are so intrinsic to India's contribution to America and America's democracy. The entire point of what folks here were meeting about was a simple concept that government was not something that gave or take away your rights, but that instead you were born with a set of natural rights that were inalienable, that could not be limited except vis-a-vis the consent of the people. And so that's what they were fighting for, and that's what they ended up having a violent revolution in order to try to advance. But as we know, the idea of a democratic society where you are entitled to natural rights and that people got to participate in their democracy in order to decide whether those would be limited or not was not realized by the time that Mahatma Gandhi came along in India and started the nonviolent resistance. And it was those principles that he brought to the fore that really informed and are explicitly credited by Martin Luther King and all of the mid-20th century civil rights leaders in the United States. So all of those ideas that were crafted here, that were started here, were not realized or even close to it in the United States by the time the nonviolent resistance and revolution came about. And oh, by the way, to get independence from the very same government that was controlling America, what we later found out to be the United States at that time. And so we should explicitly make that connection. Why? Because celebrating India's independence is intrinsic to what we have here in America. It is intrinsically part of American history, and I would argue it is becoming more and more happily part of Concord's history and the fabric of what we do and who we are in Concord. I remember very vividly last year, Ravi and I standing up here and encouraging, almost pleading with the folks who are here to continue to contribute more openly to Concord's community, because there is so much to contribute, so much needed, that you have as a community of Indian Americans that we need to reach our full potential as a Concord community. And I'm not going to name names because I know I'd leave some people out. We have elected folks and appointed folks and many other leaders of our Indian community who have continued to stand up and who have advanced their leadership. And I encourage that to continue, not just because of what you're doing, but because you're continuing the legacies, the contributions of Radha and so many other people who have contributed so much to Concord for decades. So thank you. Please keep doing this. It is an honor to participate, and I really congratulate everybody who is here and is making this happen. Thank you.
Thank you, Representative Cataldo. Next, speaking on behalf of State Representative Carmen Gentile of the 13th Middlesex District, we will hear from Ravi Simon, a legislative aide for Representative Gentile and chair of the Lincoln-Sudbury School Committee.
very hard following Representative Cataldo. I'm going to do my best. It's wonderful to be with you. My name is Ravi Simon, and I work for Representative Carmen Gentile, who is one of Concord's state representatives in the Massachusetts House with Representative Cataldo. I'm the other Simon in the Massachusetts State House. As Representative Cataldo mentioned, this is my second time attending, and I was so glad to get the invite and to be able to return. Not just because I love seeing the Biryani and Bikes group dance, although that is great, but because I think there's a real sense here, right, of culture and community, and that stands out. And as Rep. Cataldo mentioned, I mean, come on, is there any better place to celebrate independence and nationhood than right here in Concord and at First Parish? I think everyone here has gotten a lot of practice at that lately. And by the way, I think more Concord 250 events should have chai. I firmly believe that. Is anyone from the town's planning committee here? We're gonna make it happen. So, on my Amma's side, I'm Sri Lankan. And if there's one thing that I found that Americans, Indians, and Sri Lankans can all agree on, it's kicking the British out and getting them off their continent. We're very proud of our independence movements. And as Representative Cataldo said, I think there's a lot of, there's a strong history and a strong connection between those independence movements in the United States, in India, and then that the ideas in the Indian independence movement actually found a home here in the civil rights movement. I think another striking similarity between India and the United States is the diversity of both countries. That both nations are true melting pots, and I think Sandeep did a great job talking about this. You know, in India you have Hindus, and you have Muslims, and you have Sikhs, and Jains, and Buddhists, and Christians, and tons of other faiths. 122 officially recognized languages. Almost 1.5 billion people. I mean, that is mind-boggling. It's staggering to think about. And India manages to be a democracy. I mean, we can barely manage that in the United States with 340 million people. But in all seriousness, I often think about Nehru's indelible words at the time of Indian independence, 78 years ago, that we cannot encourage communalism or narrow-mindedness. For no nation can be great whose people are narrow in thought or in action. Now, neither of our countries always lives up to that ideal and that promise, but they're both founded on ideas of equality and democracy. And that's rare and worth celebrating. If there's anything that makes America great, it's the waves of immigrants who come here, who work hard, who enrich communities like Concord. No matter what some politicians say, our identity as a nation will never be just one thing, and pretending otherwise is narrow-minded. I had the opportunity to meet Radha a little bit earlier today, and it's really an astounding thing to have some of our elders here who were the first people you know, of our background to be in towns like Concord. I recently met Sudbury's first Indian resident, Ruti, at an event there. That's where I live in Sudbury. Apparently she goes to the gym with my mom, which I didn't know. But it was a reminder to me that our South Asian community here is still so new, right? I mean, to be able to talk to and learn from the people who were the first South Asians to be in these communities is an astounding thing. And I think younger people like me forget that sometimes, just how new we are as a community. And so, to me, that's why it's so important to do what we're doing here today. To come together, to celebrate our cultures openly, you know, to share our cultures and to teach other people about the places that our families come from. Representative Gentile regrets that he couldn't join us today, But on his behalf, I really want to thank Shruti and all of the organizers who helped put this event together and are making this celebration so special. And on his behalf, I want to convey his very best wishes for a joyful 78th India Day. It's an honor to be here. I hope you'll come say hello. Thank you.
And finally, we will hear remarks sent by fellow school committee member Michael Williams, read by DEI Commission member Joe Palumbo.
Thank you. As you can tell, probably I'm not Michael Williams. Before I start, I just want to say it's my second time coming to India Day, and why it fills my heart full of such joy is I'm a history person. My immigrant Italian grandparents were some of the first Italians in Concord about 100 years ago. And I can tell you that, as you know, being sometimes the first immigrant group in a community takes some work. But as many of the speakers said, it's the hard work and dedication and teaching folks about your culture. I just want to tell you one quick little story. We weren't really very connected to town politics, but I remember when the first Italian-American was elected to the select board, my dad was like, "There's finally an Italian on the select board," and we all knew his name, and it was kind of an amazing thing. So I just want to think about this year and how amazing it was for Sandeep's election. And to me, that was a moment for this community, but also a moment reminded me about this process will continue and continue. So these are the remarks that Michael sent today because he's in Colorado with his family. So these are Michael Williams' words to you. Family commitments and celebrations have us in Colorado. Nonetheless, I wanted to take the opportunity to recognize Concord's Indian community second official Indian Day celebration. We all have journeyed somewhere to arrive together here in this place at this time. Some of you know that my journey started in Louisiana with parents who raised and educated me in New York. My relatives, though, were spread throughout the southern and western states, and only 3 live in the Northeast. By contrast, many of you have traveled far, holding close to family ties that stretch across continents. Here in Concord and its surrounding towns, you have found each other and woven a thriving community. That you have welcomed me and my family into your circle of care and wisdom is humbling. Personally, you have offered me a sense of community I had never experienced, and for that I thank you. Last year, when we were together here, we all celebrated the beauty of the culture and urged the Assembly to become more enmeshed, more socially and politically active in our American democratic experiment. And so you did. You heard our elected officials' encouragement. You listened, and this year together we made history. For the first time in Concord's illustrious history, we joined our fellow Concordians to elect Sandeep Pishrati and Michael Williams, 2 men of color, 2 brown men, to positions of municipal governance. Together we accomplished this both as a recognition and a statement that our diversity of person and perspective only enriches the dialogue of Concord's leadership in order to better serve all. Again, for your consideration and support, I thank you. I first met Sandeep virtually as he spoke before a select board weeks prior to Indian Day 2024 and in person for the first time at last year's celebration. Although we differ in age and cultural experiences and perspective, this is as it should be. For articulate individuals with a diversity of view, each wield their arguments to craft their decisions. I won't speak for Sandeep, but I know we are both appreciative of the effort you extended in our support and trust that we are dedicated to bringing our best to the task of serving your children in all of Concord. With that, I wish it was possible to be there for me today and relate this to you in person, but I bid you all a happy Indian Day. Thank you. Thank you all for being here today.
Thank you all for your thoughtful words. Next up, Neha Joshil and Prisha Rajikatla of Westford Academy Bollywood Dance Club will perform a Bollywood fusion piece. Prisha Rajikatla is also a graduate of Westford Academy and a rising sophomore at UMass Amherst, where she majors in legal studies. big hand for their artistry and dedication.
Finally, I would like to invite back up Shrutyanti to share some closing remarks.
Thank you all for being here. You are all what makes this all possible, and we just wanted to thank once again our First Parish community, our town for embracing us, for partnering with us to make this happen and possible, and for our amazing families, as well as all of our elected officials who've been here to join us here today. I also want to thank, in addition to our town, I also want to thank the Cultural Council, our interfaith communities, the League of Women Voters. So if you could just all wave to Stefan, who was also here last year. One of the things we're also really interested in is having our community, as was mentioned earlier by some of our speakers, more civically engaged and more aware and informed of what's happening in our community. So please take a couple of moments and chat with Stefan, stay with us and enjoy some chai and biscuits and cookies. Before we part today, we'd love to take a group photo of those that are still here. So if you don't mind just coming and joining me up here on stage. And I just want to just share one brief story about how India Day in Concord came to be. And while he may not lean in and mention this as he speaks, which I really think he should, it was really a conversation with our dear state rep and my dear friend Simon Cataldo. About 2.5 years ago, we chatted and we discussed how these celebrations for India Day are happening across the Commonwealth. And he asked, we should really have this here in our hometown. And Simon, I just want to thank you for seeing us and for partnering and caring to partner with us over and over again. And we really appreciate you and our community of leadership that cares so much about us. And I just really wanted to take a moment to share our heartfelt gratitude, because we will continue to make this, we will continue to partner with our younger generations to allow this to continue and grow as we move along. And I'm really delighted to have our Town of Acton leaders also here. Sahana Purohit is also here, who leads such remarkable efforts here throughout our community, but also in our neighboring towns of Concord. So we can always rely on our family and friends to show up, and I just want to thank you all again for being here. So if you could please join and just joining us by taking a group photo, and then we can actually move towards chai and community and conversation. So please come right up. We'd love to take a group photo together. Thank you.